Welcome to Planetary Gig Talk, Tales of Music and Magic. I'm your host, Jefferson Glassy, the Chief Spiritual Dude, the Planetary Gig Society, whose mission is creating unity through music. And today we are back at the worldwide headquarters of the Planetary Gig Society in Studio One, and I'm very, very pleased and happy to be able to talk with a great friend and cool guy. You know, he's a bass player, so you know that he keeps track of everything going on in the band. And Mr. Tom Cox, how you doing?
Jefferson, it is great to be here, and great to be here in Studio One. I've only been here in the daytime, nighttime, and it's nice to be here in the daytime. It's beautiful.
Yeah, thanks. It's a great day. We were at your gig the other night, and I admire your playing, and you know a lot of music. And so, where did music come from in your life? What led you to pick up the bass? Were you like 2 years old and you just kind of started keeping the beat?
In the womb. First of all, it was great to see you and your extended family. Mm-hmm. Nice bunch of people. I was playing with Rick Franklin and his Delta Blues Boys with an extended band. It was neat to have Mark Skippy Casal and Brendan Bayless join us. It's usually just Rick Franklin and Rick Usselton and myself. So it was good to have a couple of extra hands on board. Where I came from musically, I think, when I was a little boy, used to collect records, used to collect 45s. And it was a record store right up the street from me.
Where was that?
It was in Bethesda. Uh-huh. And there was a record store right in Wildwood Manor Shopping Center. And I was influenced in purchasing records by the guy next door who was I guess he was a young teenager who was an avid record collector. And he collected just about everything. He had thousands of records. And I would go over to his basement and I said, well, I got to start doing this. So I think I would go up to Wildwood Manor and I would buy these 45s. A lot of them, when I was little, I'm talking about 4 or 5 years old, were these, do you know what a novelty record is?
Novelty record.
Oh, Sheb Wooley, the Purple People Leader.
Purple People, I remember.
Yeah. The Witch Doctor. My friend, the Witch Doctor, he told me.
Oh, yeah. I remember those when I was growing up.
Yeah,
Yeah. Bang, bang, shalala.
Yeah, we go on, but maybe we should stop. But then I graduated into things like Ricky Nelson and the Everly Brothers, mm-hmm. and I liked Little Richard because he was just out there. And I continued buying records up until they stopped making records.
Mm-hmm. Had a big collection, I guess.
Big collection. I still do. I kept my vinyl. Unfortunately, the 45s disappeared. I don't know where they went.
It's like the old baseball cards out of the attic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The baseball cards in the cigar box. And then I got personally into music in 1963 when I was a kid. My parents moved to Bangkok, Thailand. My father was in the Foreign Service. At that time, you could take a ship across the Pacific. And I remember going up every night and hearing the band.
This is on the ship?
On the ship. There was a band.
In the Pacific Ocean?
In the Pacific Ocean. And back then, they didn't call them bands. They called them combos.
Mm-hmm. Combo.
Combo. And so we would go up and see the combo. And I remember the bass player. I don't know why I remember the bass player, but I do. He was playing all the low notes, and I just have this vision of him, even still. I think he was playing a Gibson EBO. That's how I remember it, and that's pretty spectacular because that was a long, long time ago. So I got that into my head because we were on that boat for almost 20 days, and I listened to this combo nightly. When we got back from Thailand, we were in Bethesda, and I remember going to a store and seeing a string bass. And I thought that was the neatest thing in the world. And I convinced my parents to go into the record or the music store, and I tried it out. And I just fooled around with it. Played the strings. I said, this is really what I want to do. But my mother said, well, you have to play piano first.
Well, so did your parents play music?
No, they didn't. But my mother especially was very encouraging. In fact, she really liked country music. There's a guy in the 50s, I guess early 60s, named Red Foley, who... there's a bird.
Well, that's my bird clock, and here in the worldwide headquarters, we celebrate music of all types, and so that was some sort of bird.
It was a beautiful whistle.
Yeah.
So she would watch this show that was on Saturday nights, and it was just a bunch of people square dancing and playing country music.
You mean like hee-haw or something?
Yeah, but it was way before hee-haw.
Huh.
It was 10, 12 years before hee-haw. And I always remember tall, lanky guy playing bass, and I thought, that's what I want to do.
That's pretty cool. You really did have a...
Yeah, and it's funny, in these, a lot of these country bands, the bass player was always the goofball. He would dress up really stupid in bib overalls and wear a hat backwards and look silly looking, but anyway. So anyway, I said, this is the sort of thing I want to do. So I bought the bass, and I started playing in junior high school orchestra and learned how to read. And I mentioned my mother wanted me to play piano, so I took piano lessons for about a year. And I didn't really like it, but in retrospect, I'm really glad that she kind of forced that on me, because it gave me an idea. Yeah, it gave me an idea of what the piano's all about, and I can follow people now who play piano, and it gave me my ear got a better sense of music, I think, through the piano.
Yeah. So your father didn't play music?
No, he didn't. Interestingly, my grandfather on my mother's side played piano an awful lot, and he even played right up here, about a mile up the road from Studio One at the Cabin John Hotel, which I think burned down in the 20s or something like that.
Yeah, no, there's a sign up there right by the one-lane bridge.
Yep. It was an old-style hotel, and I think during Prohibition, they were able to serve alcohol, and so it was a happening place where people would go to.
Whether legally or illegally. Yeah.
Right. And he also played in the movie houses downtown. If you remember, I think everybody knows, during the silent movies, they'd have a piano player playing during the movie, and he would do that. And it got him through George Washington Medical School, and unfortunately I never met him. He died 11 years even before I was born. But I think that gene kind of was passed on. Mm-hmm.
Got the bass gene, the music genes.
Bass, yeah.
Maybe not bass from him, but music.
I heard he had a good left hand. So, and the music gene has been passed on. My daughters are really into it, and I have a couple of nephews who, Andrew and Trevor, who are very much into music, old-style country music.
So you were you really started playing in high school, and then I guess you played through college and 20s. You were in bands, probably rock bands? Or?
Yeah, and that all started really in February '64 when one Sunday night everything changed, and that's when the Beatles came on, Ed Sullivan.
I remember that show.
And it was February, and I just was transfixed because they were on 3 successive weeks. And I'd heard of them, I'd seen clips of them on CBS News. I think Walter Cronkite did something on them in that earlier in late '63. So I knew of the Beatles, but I'd never seen them, and they just blew the world away.
Well, I mean, what was it? I mean, that was really a powerful moment in our history.
I don't think there had been anything like it, and I'm not sure there has been anything like that musically since then.
I mean, what changed? What grabbed you?
They were so different. They were English. They were foreign. They all played their own instruments. They all had this interesting hair that I'd never seen before.
That's true.
And they were personable. You could see that they were really digging the music, and you could see that they were really digging themselves and having the best time of their lives.
It was like joy.
Yeah, I tell you.
Oh my God, the girls in the audience.
And the girls were going nuts, and I said, wow, these guys know something. And they were all, as I said, they were all playing their own instruments, and I'd never really seen a rock and roll band like that. And they were all singing together, George and Paul and John. Even Ringo I think he sang Boys, It was just like, wow, these 4 guys are creating this musical unit that I've never seen before. And I think it turned me on, and it turned you on, and it turned everybody on. And then it went off from there. And I think that's when I decided I'm not going to ever be like them, but I sure would like to be. And I ended up buying all their records, and the whole British invasion came, and I bought all the Stones records, and
you were playing bass, so you learned those songs.
Yeah, I was playing bass, and I learned a little bit of guitar, and then in high school I met up with a bunch of people that like me, wanted to play music. And by that time, jamming came into the forefront of my life. And I would go over to a friend's house and every day after school just about. And I'd take my electric bass, and he was a very, very good guitarist. I still am in touch with him. And we would just jam all afternoon long. And we formed a band, and I've been in bands basically all my adult life. When I was 16 or 17 years I obtained a fake draft card, so I would go around, catch all these cool bands like the Fallen Angels that were playing down in Connecticut Avenue, a place called Sam's Place. And at that time, they were playing basically, I guess you'd call it hippie music now. Really long hair, and I thought, wow, these guys are pretty cool. And so I've been playing music ever since. Had a couple of kids, and during that time, I sort of laid off playing music. But now I'm in a couple of bands, as you know. I play with Rick Franklin and the Delta Blues Boys.
You are a Delta Blues boy.
I'm one of the boys in the band. And they do a lot of what is called hokum blues.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, it's all this.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's all this double entendre, and it is fun. And Rick Usselton, who's our drummer, is just right in the pocket, and I love playing with him. And as you know, Rick Franklin is just great.
Fabulous player.
He's such a steady guitarist and wonderful singer and a raconteur beyond belief. And we've been playing at various clubs, particularly one that you saw us the other night, for about 10 years now.
It's a great. I really enjoy going to see you guys, and I love the kind of music, some of the old stuff. It seems to me it's kind of old black and white music. You know,
it is. It's
not
all.
It's not just blues. It's not just the old, blind guys who used to play in the old day. But it's all kind of multifaceted, fun music.
Yeah, it's all off. I used to buy 45s. This music is all off 78s, man. And we play around there, as I say, at Casats and other places and festivals. The other band that I play a lot with are the Capitol Hillbillies.
Mm-hmm. The rolling piano.
And featuring Rollo, the rolling piano. Joe Bayless is one of the most unique people I've ever met in a very positive way. We'll push his piano blocks and blocks and blocks, and we'll go out to the Eastern Market and jam when it's a nice day. And we also have a lot of gigs around town, mostly on Capitol Hill. But we play a variety of old blues, jazz, mostly from the 20s and 30s. And of course, Pearl Bayless is in that band.
Brendan plays,
his son. So it's a family, and we've got Charlie playing rhythm, and we have a load of fun playing with those guys. It's just wonderful. And then I also sit in. If anybody needs a bass player, they often call me, and I just fill in. So that's what I'm doing right now.
So you have been playing music all your life. You kind of got enraptured, grabbed by music a long time ago. How do you describe what this captivating aspect of music is? It's not just the playing part, it's people who come to see you. Last night at the restaurant, everybody's, the music's going, so it's not exactly the best place to have some deep conversations. But it's fun. It's toe tapping. You can't stop your toe from tapping. What is it about music? How does it affect people?
Well, that in part is due to a good rhythm section and a good drummer. And Rick Franklin playing a steady beat, and hopefully myself as well. I tell you, it beats going to a psychologist, either listening or playing music. I'll just speak from where I'm standing. It is encompassing, and you're just thinking about the music and the people out there and the entertainment value of what you're doing, and it just makes me feel really, really good. It's hard to get bummed out when you're playing good music.
Yeah.
It's joyful.
Sort of puts you in the moment, doesn't it? You're not thinking about a lot of other stuff.
I am not thinking about who's running the country, or I'm not thinking about anything else but how I fit into this combination of people I'm playing with and listening to what the various people are playing to complement them.
Mm-hmm. So you're a combo.
We are a combo. I think we should bring back the word combo.
Well, we're just doing it right now.
Yeah. No, combo. That's probably a good name.
And the role of the bass player, you see these things on Facebook and other places that say that the bass player is the key to the band. holding down that groove, and I don't want you to get all embarrassed or anything here.
Oh, no.
What is it about the bass that really keeps the song going? What do you
Well, first of all, as you know, everything is true on Facebook.
It's true. That's why I cited it as my source.
Yeah, that's my first source of information. Yeah, I don't know what it is about the bass. It's what attracted me to music. I think it's because it's the bottom notes. It's the bass. It's the basement. It's the everything's built around on top of the basement, right?
Yeah.
Like this house, like your studio here, and. If you didn't have the bass, I don't know what you'd do. Actually, I kind of disagree with that. I think the drums are more important. I think
keeping that beat.
Yeah, back in the day, it was the drum that was the first instrument, and I kind of disagree with. As much as I would like to say the bass is the key instrument, come on, man. If you don't have those drums.
Yeah, but the bass is also keeping the beat in a way, too.
Yeah, and see, we got a little melody going, and we don't have a bass player or a drummer in the Capitol Hillbillies, and I play a lot of slap bass.
Uh-huh.
And so I literally slap my hand against the fingerboard of the bass.
Percussion.
Yeah, and in a way that really is a percussive instrument. Bass was not built as a percussive instrument, but it can be. And if you listen to old Elvis records like Mystery Train, there's no drummer there. Bill Black's just pounding the hell out of his bass and slapping it crazy. And so maybe you're right, Jeff. I'll go along with that.
You're going to take credit, finally.
Yeah, well,
credit where credit is due.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah, so another, we've known each other, I'm not sure which came first, the chicken or the egg, but either Blues Week at Davis and Elkins College, Elkins,
right.
West Virginia, or Barbershop,
Archie Edwards
Blues Heritage Foundation. There's quite a community that develops around that. I mean, for us and for a lot of other genres too, that's been a really significant thing in my life, honestly. The people that I've known through Blues Week and through Archie Edwards, it's sort of this bond that can't be really broken down. Pretty important in your life too, I'm thinking, right?
Right. I was introduced to Archie Edwards Blues Foundation by going up to one of the folk, or one of the, what's the name of it up in Western Maryland?
Common Ground.
Common Ground, yes. And I met Mike Baytop.
Oh, you met Mike there?
Yeah.
Huh.
And I think I was taking violin or something like that. I wanted to learn how to play fiddle. And Mike was up there. He says, why don't you come down to this barber shop down in Northeast Washington on Bunker Hill Road? I said, why would I want to do that? Well, I finally went down there, and I met a whole collection of really fine people and really fine musicians. And it was interesting because they were all different levels of people as far as musical abilities. But everybody was so happy to see anybody come in with an instrument. Oftentimes, people who didn't really know how to play would stay in the back and be shy about it. Nowadays, those people are right out front, playing the blues and leading us on, you know, and that's been quite an experience. Not only do I know them musically, but I've built friendships around these people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the things that I realized, I didn't know what a lot of the old barbershop folks did in their real lives. I mean, or in their unreal lives. what job they had or whatever. But when they got to the barbershop, didn't matter, who they were, where they were from, what color of the skin, anything about them. But, you'd come together through music. But another thing that I found, I always wondered when you would drive down to the beaches in Delaware and you'd see people, for example, sitting outside on the front porch. And you thought, what are they doing? They're just sitting there.
Yeah.
And then I realized a lot of going to the barbershop, hanging out on a Saturday afternoon with friends and thinking about playing music was just really hanging out with friends.
Right.
And the community was as important as the music.
I was never there when I never met Archie, but I understand on Saturdays around 2 or 3 o'clock, he'd hang up his shears and his buddies would come in and they would shoot the bull and pass around the moonshine and play the blues. And one thing led to another, and more people got onto that, and it's quite a community now. And sometimes you go in there now and there's 25 people there. And it's quite amazing because I guess when it just started out, Archie would just hang up those clippers and 2 or 3 people like NJ Warren would come in and that would be
Mr.
it.
Bones.
Mr. Bones. And I guess Phil Wiggins, Eleanor Ellis, and that'd be it. And it's grown tremendously, and now they play at the Kennedy Center. They play all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't go down there every week, but I always know that if it's a Saturday afternoon and I have a few hours to spare, I go down to the barber shop, and I love it. So
just maybe sort of one more thing. They got the Planetary Gig Society and this mission, making connections through music with the intention of bringing peace, or so kind of our current tagline, creating unity through music. Sometimes it seems a little ethereal or a little, out there or something. But I think it's pretty amazing and profound, and maybe we don't appreciate it. Everybody doesn't appreciate what we can achieve through music. You played with bands, you played music all your life. It makes you feel good. You think we can make a difference? Is this worth doing?
Of
all
course,
this stuff?
Absolutely. I think if more people listened to or played music, the world would be a better place. I've traveled around a bit in my life, in my career. I used to work in the International Trade Administration, and as I said, my parents were stationed in Bangkok, Thailand, and everywhere you go, whenever you hear music, people are happy, and people are enjoying themselves, and people are getting up and dancing. And if you're in a bar in Istanbul, somebody will get up and start belly dancing, which is quite a sight. I love it. And I just think if more people listened to and enjoyed music, this world might be a better place. I would suggest that even our president, I don't know what kind of music he listens to, but I suspect,
sure
I think somebody ought to get into the White House.
With a bass guitar.
Well, you can start with a bass guitar and start rumbling around and add some drums and, create a little music room so the president can start rocking out a little more, because he needs to do something more than he's doing now. And I suspect that it would do him a lot of good. And other people too. I mean, I have a friend, my friend Al is a music therapist. And I know through him what music can do in the world of therapy. And I've seen videos of an older gentleman putting on headphones or earbuds or whatever they were, and the therapist would turn on, I think it was Cab Calloway, and this guy was really into Cab Calloway. And he would be just sitting there, almost comatose, Jeff. And then the therapist put on these headphones, and he turned on Cab Calloway, and that guy was jumping around like he was 25 years old.
Back to life.
Exactly. Music does that. And I would urge everybody to tune into that, because it's so important. It's so relaxing. It gets you off the troubles of the world, and Lord knows there's enough trouble. So, and maybe if enough people listen to and play, some of those troubles will go away.
That would certainly be good. So I think we do have a prescription. We're going to get the president music therapist and see if we can make some progress on that front.
Yeah, maybe we can get Kim Il-jung or whatever his name is to do the same.
He should play the bass. He's got a bass player's haircut, I think.
Yeah, he's a punk. He's a punk.
He's a punk. That's for sure. All right. Well, great conversation. Love you, man. Tom Cox.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Hey, Jeff, it's been a pleasure. And I really do enjoy your podcast. I think it's great.
We'll just keep on keeping that conversation going.
Let's do it.
All right. You've been listening to Planetary Gig Talk, Tales of Music and Magic. I'm your host, Jefferson Glassy, Chief Spiritual Dude of the Planetary Gig Society. We talk with musicians and others about the power of music and how we can use music to help create a better world. Please check out our website, www.planetarygigs.org, for information about some of the organizations promoting music and musicians, resources about the power of music, books, movies, articles, including new research on music and the brain. We welcome your support. The Planetary Gig Society is a Section 501c3 charitable organization, and you can donate on the website. You also can receive a free email signature block demonstrating your support for Planetary Gig Society. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Planetary Gigs. And we want to thank fabulous musician and teacher Eric Weinberg of Little Eric Studios for the Planetary Gig Talk music titled Chill Kid, It's Saul. So please check out Planetary Gig Talk on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Subscribe and hear all the upcoming episodes. Thanks very much.